Hi, it's Tony, and this is my take on Australia's recent overseas aid increases. I moved to Melbourne in November 2014 to take on the role as Executive Officer of Make Poverty History. We sought to increase overseas aid through the brand of the Campaign for Australian Aid. The Labor government had increased the aid budget, but the newly elected coalition government claimed the debt and deficit disaster meant they had to make significant cuts to government expenditure. They cut $107 million from the aid budget. Foreign Minister Julie Bishop promised no further cuts. She said, quote, "From 2014-15, the $5 billion aid budget will grow each year in line with the Consumer Price Index," end quote. But by December that year, the coalition broke its promise. Just a few weeks after I moved to Australia, the coalition announced savage cuts, starting with $1 billion in 2015. They cut aid to the lowest level it's ever been. It was a challenging campaign environment with waves of disappointment and demoralisation for campaign volunteers. However, the campaign continued to grow. A generation of young activists was trained to fight back. The aid and development sector united. It consistently and repeatedly made the case for increasing aid through public campaigning and behind-the-scenes efforts. When I left my role, the aid budget had stabilised, but at rock bottom. The only hope for a moderate increase to aid was a change of government, with Labor promising increases at the 2019 federal election. The Campaign for Australian Aid, under the leadership of Jody Lightfoot, continued to make the case. In 2020, Campaign for Australian Aid partnered with Micah Australia and ACFID to design and deliver an End COVID for All campaign. And 2 weeks ago, they had a major win. The campaign secured more than $1.3 billion in new international development funding, the first increase in 8 years. It's not permanent funding, but it is still significant. It includes $500 million to assist in the rollout of a COVID-19 vaccine to the Pacific and Southeast Asia, and $304.7 million for the COVID-19 Recovery Fund for the Pacific and Timor-Leste. This is an important reversal of the coalition's downward spiral on aid. It's a major achievement in a political environment of a massively larger debt and deficit compared to the debt and deficit in 2013 that was used to justify the cuts in the first place. And it provides a precedent for future aid increases. Most important, it will improve people's lives. Too often we spend campaign energy lamenting campaign losses, so let's celebrate this win. Well done, Campaign for Australian Aid, Micah, ACFID, and the tens of thousands of people who took action over the past several years for a fairer aid budget. And a special mention to Jody Lightfoot for his compassion and leadership.